welcome to your weekly review of Raw and Smackdown. So like, subscribe and leave a comment. We commence in the 8th of May. So it starts off basically with Raw showing the challengers who's going to be competing for the new world champion. To be new world champion, in fact, competing for the new world championship belt. It shows all the competitors who's going to be in this tournament. So then the show kicks off with Cody Rhodes coming out saying basically he beat Brock. Even though Brock is a beast, he is beatable. And basically Cody says he won't stop until he is the new world champion. Then it goes straightly into the first match, the first qualifying match, which is a triple threat match. So it's Seth versus Damien Priest versus Shinsuke Nakamura in a really good match. But in the end, Seth freaking Rollins wins, and he's going to advance into the semi-finals later to face who's then going to face off in the finals at Night of Champions. Then in the back, Imperium run into Sami Zayn and KO, and Imperium basically feel they're being disrespected, and they get called out, and so that leads to a match later on in the show. Then it goes into another match, Otis versus Mustafa Ali in a decent match. But what happened was there was some distraction there because Chad Gable and Maxine were both arguing, and it led to Otis losing via roll-up to Ali. So congratulations to Ali. Then we have The Miz basically in the back before his match saying he needs to respect it. He needs to be respected, put some respect on his name, and if he wins, he will be a workhorse champion that will be defended all the time. So that leads into a triple threat match with The Miz versus Finn versus Cody Rhodes. Obviously going into this, I thought Cody Rhodes would win easy, but near the end of the match, Brock Lesnar returns and basically takes out Cody Rhodes out of the match, takes him out, leaves him laying. Brock Lesnar's got a black eye and everything from their match stitches. He looks a bit beaten up. So in the end, Finn Balor managed to get the win. So Finn Balor advances to the match later on against Seth Rollins to see who's going to go to Night of Champions. Then we have Rhea Ripley versus Dana Brooke in a decent match, but Dana Brooke basically got squashed. And then after the match, Natalya came out and basically stood up to Rhea Ripley. So it looks like that's her next match. Then we have Zoe from NXT who's been called up. Basically says to the interviewer she's confident, she's going to run the division, she's confident against anybody, and she sees Nikki Cross just literally staring into space and basically calls out Nikki Cross, so they'll have a match later. Then we have Sami Zayn and KO versus the Imperium in a decent match, but it was won by Sami Zayn and the Haluva kick, so we'll see what happens with that. Then we have Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville going around getting signatures because they want to face the tag team champions in a rematch. They went to get signatures from Dexter, Indy, Johnny Gargano and Candice, and they all said no, so we'll see what happens there. Then we had a flashback of the Bloodline versus Sami Zayn and Riddle and KO in their match at Backlash. So yeah, and obviously Solo got the win, so we will see what happens there. And also it's announced Roman Reigns returns on Smackdown. Then we have Nikki Cross versus Zoe in a decent match, but in the end Zoe gets the win with the Z360. I think that it was a brilliant move. I like it, sort of like a mix with the go to sleep into like a suplex into a knee. It looks really good. I'm very impressed by that move. So one of my favourite finishes now. Then we have Dom and Rhea Ripley in the back. Rhea Ripley's getting asked, does she feel pressure being the women's champion? As she's about to answer, Xavier Woods and Tozawa are making noise, and basically Dom goes, hey, keep it down, mummy's talking, which obviously led to a match with Xavier versus Dom. I think Rhea Ripley as a champion needs to do more. I don't know, it's probably not her, but I think she needs to do more. I think it's a bit of an afterthought. But yeah, that's what I thought anyway. Then we had Trish Stratus basically calling out Becky Lynch, handing out flyers, and basically in the ring saying Becky Lynch is an afterthought, where's Becky Lynch, her daughter's dumb, etc, etc. And then Becky Lynch's music plays. It's like Becky Lynch is going to come out. Becky Lynch doesn't come out. Trish starts laughing because obviously she fooled everybody. But later on, Becky Lynch does turn up and she starts attacking Trish. So obviously they'll probably face off at Night of Champions. Then in the back we've got Cody Rhodes. Basically they're injured after he's been attacked by Brock. So we'll see what happens with that. Then we have Dom versus Xavier Woods in a decent match. But in the end, Dom got the roll up. Slight distraction there as well. Then we have Jinder Mahal and Co. They seem to be back making their return to Raw. So we'll see what they do. Then in the back we have Shinsuke Nakamura and The Miz. Basically, they're talking about joining forces, but The Miz really wants to do it, but Shin doesn't want to do it. Shin wants to have a one-on-one match next week, so we'll see what happens there. Then we have Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green. They're in the back looking for more signatures, and they run into the tag team champions of the world. And the tag team champions, Raquel and Liv, basically say, "You want some? Come get some." Then we have Cody in the back saying basically has no words about his title aspirations being totally burnt down by Brock Lesnar. He has no words, but he said to Brock Lesnar, who offered Cody a match at Night of Champions, a street fight, Cody accepts. Then in the main event of the evening is Finn versus Seth. The winner goes to Night of Champions to fight for to be the new world champion on Raw. Really good match. Go and watch. You haven't seen it, but in the end, Seth beats Finn. Sing his song. Then we go to SmackDown. SmackDown announces and shows that Roman Reigns will return tonight. Then in our first match, we have Edge versus AJ versus Rey Mysterio. This was probably one of the best triple threat matches of the whole series. Go and watch if you haven't seen it. Awesome match. But in the end, AJ gets the pin on Edge. Then we have a flashback of Backlash again. Sami Zayn and KO versus the Bloodline. Great match. Then the Usos are in the back, sort of like all pumped and hyped that Roman Reigns is coming back. And they're like, yeah, Roman Reigns is coming back. Big Us. So we'll see what Roman Reigns says. Then we have a triple threat match where it's Sheamus, Theory, and Bobby Lashley. Obviously, the winner faces AJ. Then that person goes to Night of Champions. Decent match, but in the end, Bobby Lashley gets the pin on Austin Theory. So Bobby Lashley being the main event against AJ Styles. Then we have Grayson Waller in the back, and basically says he wants to interview the winner of tonight's main event, which is granted by Adam Pearce. Then we had Baron Corbin versus Cameron Grimes in an absolute squash match. Cameron Grimes beats Corbin in about 5 seconds, so yep. Then we have flashbacks of Brock Lesnar attacking Cody Rhodes, and obviously he's going to lead to the match at Night of Champions. Then your tribal chief returns, the undisputed world champion, the tribal chief, the head of the table, the Big Us. Roman Reigns is back with the rest of the bloodline. As walking out was quite funny. They're sort of marketing the new world championship. It's literally just there. Walking out, you have Paul Heyman looking at the world championship in disgust as he walks out. It's noted that Roman Reigns has now held the title for 985 days. Wow. So Roman Reigns basically says he's been away. While he was away, the bloodline had a match at Backlash, and he said while he's away, people need to step up. And he said, who stepped up while he was away? And he said Solo stepped up while he was away. And then he calls out the Usos for losing the tag team championships and losing the rematch as well. Calls them out and basically says he gets Paul to announce it. And he also has a go at the Usos for trying to dedicate the match to Roman but then losing. He said, why are you dedicating the match to me? I'm not a tag team wrestler. He's a singles wrestler. What are you doing? Then he gets Paul Heyman to announce the major announcement that at Night of Champions it's going to be Roman Reigns and Solo versus the undisputed tag team champions of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And Roman also basically sends another shot to the Usos saying they're not the greatest champions. Sika and that tag team is the best tag team champions in history, not the Usos basically. So we will see what happens there. Then we had Bayley in the back, said she blames herself for Io Sky not winning, and she thinks she pushed Io Sky too fast, too early. But they're going to get the tag team championships, so we'll see what happens there. Then we have the LWO in the back running into the Usos. They had a bit of a back and forth, so I'm sure there'll be some matches there. Then we had Liv Morgan and Raquel versus Damage Control for the titles in a decent match. Go and watch, I haven't seen it, but in the end, Liv Morgan gets the win. Then we have the Brutes in the back running to Pretty Deadly. Are they called something too hot snacks or something like that, whatever they call themselves. And Pretty Deadly was basically just mocking the Brutes. So we will see what happens there. The Brutes will test their chin, so they better be ready for that. Then we have Bianca Belair. She's coming out for a big celebration because she's the longest running women's champion in the modern era. She came out to her hometown going crazy. There's balloons there. She's ready to celebrate. Oscar comes out and basically spits mist in her face and just ruins everything. So that's that. Then in the main event of the evening, it's Bobby Lashley versus AJ Styles. Winner goes to Night of Champions. This match seemed a bit off. I'm gonna be honest with this match. It seemed a bit off. I'm not sure if AJ is off, it was Bobby, but Bobby did have a laceration on his head, so he was losing blood earlier. So he might have been a bit concussed or whatever the situation was. So he didn't seem as smooth as he usually does in the ring. With that being said, AJ Styles got the win. Do I agree with that? I'm not sure if I do. I thought obviously AJ Styles is awesome, but I thought Bobby would get that win there. Him versus Seth would be a good match. I thought that would be a good match, but because we've seen AJ versus Seth before and Seth won, we haven't really seen Seth one-on-one with Bobby, but Bobby has beaten Seth previously, but not on a pay-per-view. But anyway, the winner is AJ Styles. So at Night of Champions, it's going to be AJ Styles versus Seth freaking Rollins. In this match, I'm probably going to call it already. I think I see Seth winning. I don't see how AJ Styles wins this. AJ Styles is on Smackdown with his crew. Seth is on Raw. AJ Styles has the OC on Smackdown. Seth is on Raw. Then it's going to be Seth. It really, isn't it? Math says it's going to be Seth, far as I know. But anyway, leave your comments on who you think is going to win that. But like, subscribe, and leave a comment.